The war started far from human space. The Vrexian Empire, hungry for expansion, launched a surprise attack on 3 Keltheran colony worlds. Ancient treaties shattered in an instant. The Galactic Council called emergency sessions, but words meant nothing against Vrexian warships. Within weeks, the Council fractured as species chose sides or declared neutrality. In the chaos, the Vrexians saw opportunity. Their intelligence reports claimed the human sectors contained valuable resources hidden beneath the worthless surface. More importantly, human territory offered a strategic position for launching further attacks. The humans would be easy prey, barely worth the ammunition. High Commander Thraktor, the same Vrexian who had mocked humanity 3 years ago, volunteered to lead the conquest. He assembled a fleet of 500 warships, enough to conquer multiple systems. For humans, it would be absolute overkill. "We will sweep through their space like wind through grass," Thraktor told his officers. "Enslave those who surrender. Kill those who resist. Take their worlds and resources. The humans are weak. This will be our easiest victory." His fleet jumped into hyperspace, heading for the Fortuna system, humanity's largest colony. The attack would be broadcast across all frequencies. The galaxy would see what happened to species that occupied territory the Vrexians wanted. It would serve as a warning and entertainment. Meanwhile, in the Fortuna system, alarms blared across every human vessel and station. Admiral Minho received the alert while reviewing tactical reports. The Vrexian fleet would arrive in 30 minutes. "Sound general quarters," Minho ordered calmly. "Execute Defense Protocol Omega. Inform all ships to move to designated positions." Captain Yuna worked quickly at her console, sending encrypted orders to every human vessel in the system. "Sir, all ships acknowledging. Fleet forming up as planned. Ghost Corps is standing by for boarding operations." "Good," Minho said. He activated the system-wide broadcast. "This is Admiral Kang to all personnel. The Vrexians are coming to take what they believe is theirs. They think we're weak. They think we'll run or surrender. Show them how wrong they are." On stations and ships throughout the system, millions of humans prepared for battle. Marines checked their weapons. Engineers reinforced shield generators. Pilots ran pre-flight checks on fighters and bombers. Every person had trained for this moment. The Fortuna system appeared empty when the Vrexian fleet emerged from hyperspace. 500 warships spread out in attack formation, their sensors sweeping the area. They found nothing. No defense fleets, no orbital stations. No signs of panic or evacuation. Thraktor stood on his command deck, confused. "Where are they? Find me the humans." His sensor officer studied the displays nervously. "Sir, I'm detecting no major ships. Some small civilian vessels on the far side of the system. No military presence at all. They ran," one officer said. "The cowards abandoned their colony." Thraktor's eyes narrowed. Something felt wrong. Humans had spent 3 years building this colony. Why abandon it without a fight? Increase scanner range. Check for cloaked vessels. "Sir, our scanners would detect any cloaking technology in the galaxy." "There's nothing." The darkness came alive. Space itself seemed to tear open as 2000. Human warships decloaked simultaneously, surrounding the Vrexian fleet in a perfect sphere. The Vrexians found themselves trapped, enclosed by an armada that shouldn't exist. "Impossible," Thraktor breathed. His displays lit up with threat warnings. 2,000 ships. The intelligence report said humans had maybe 100 vessels. Where did this fleet come from? Admiral Minho's face appeared on every Vrexian screen. His expression was cold, controlled fury. "High Commander Thraktor, 3 years ago you stood in the council chamber and called us weak. You said we would be dead or enslaved within 5 years. You laughed at our ships. You mocked our strength." Thraktor's claws gripped his command chair. "You cannot have this many ships. It's impossible. Our intelligence, your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to believe," Minho interrupted. "You gave us hell and expected us to die? Instead, we made hell our home. We built, we prepared. We waited, and now, High Commander, welcome to our domain." "Open fire!" Thraktor roared. "All ships, destroy these primitives." The Vrexian fleet opened fire with everything they had. Plasma cannons, missiles, energy weapons, all targeting the human vessels. Millions of rounds of ammunition lit up space like a deadly light show the human shields held. Every shot that should have destroyed a human ship simply splashed against invisible barriers. 3 years of reverse engineering captured alien technology, and human innovation had created shields, stronger than anything the Vrexians expected. "Return fire," Minho ordered quietly. The human fleet responded with synchronized precision. Railguns, moving at a significant fraction of light speed, punched through Vrexian shields like they were paper. The advanced alloy projectiles tore through armor that had protected Vrexian ships for centuries. Plasma missiles, burning at temperatures exceeding the core of most stars, melted entire vessels in seconds. The first volley destroyed 80 Vrexian ships. Thraktor watched in horror as his fleet died around him. "Impossible. Our shields are the strongest in the galaxy." "We're the strongest," Yuna corrected from her station, though Thraktor couldn't hear her. She coordinated the human fleet with cold efficiency, treating 2,000 ships as one massive weapon. Every vessel knew its role. Every captain executed their orders perfectly. Lieutenant Narration led her fighter squadron in a suicidal attack run that no alien pilot would dare attempt. She dove her craft through the defensive fire of a Vrexian dreadnought, weaving between energy beams with reflexes enhanced by neural implants. Her fighters released their payload directly into the dreadnought's main reactor, then pulled away at crushing G-forces that would kill most species. The dreadnought exploded, taking 3 nearby Vrexian ships with it. "Alpha Squadron targets destroyed," Nari reported, her voice steady despite having just flown through hell. "Ready for next assignment." "Well done, Lieutenant," Minho replied. "Reform and support Gamma Wing." The battle was not a fight, it was an execution. Human cyber warfare teams, trained by the best hackers Earth had ever produced, tore through Vrexian computer systems. They seized control of weapons, locked navigation systems, and displayed mocking messages on enemy screens. "Your empire is built on fear," one message read. "But you forgot that fear cuts both ways." Commander Soman Lee's Ghost Corps launched from stealth ships, boarding Vrexian vessels mid-battle. They moved through corridors with lethal efficiency, their cybernetic enhancements making them faster and stronger than any organic soldier. They didn't just disable ships, they captured them intact, taking prisoners and seizing technology. Soman led her team through the corridors of Thraktor's flagship. Vrexian Marines tried to stop them. It didn't work. The Ghost Corps had trained in environments that would kill most soldiers. They fought in zero gravity and hard vacuum and toxic atmospheres. Normal gravity and breathable air made this easy. They reached the command deck in 12 minutes. Soman's team breached the door with precision charges and swept in with weapons raised. Thraktor stood at the center, surrounded by his officers, all armed. "Surrender?" Soman ordered, her voice amplified by her helmet. "Or die, your choice." Thraktor raised his weapon, but before he could fire, Soman moved. Her enhanced reflexes let her cross the distance in a blur. She disarmed him, slammed him against the wall, and pressed her weapon against his throat. "I said surrender," she repeated. Thraktor looked into her eyes and saw something that made him freeze. Not anger, not hatred. Just cold, professional efficiency. This human would kill him without hesitation or emotion. "I surrender," he said quietly. The Battle of Fortuna lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Vrexian fleet was destroyed. 400 ships were debris. 50 ships were captured intact. 50 ships fled, jumping to hyperspace with human fighters pursuing them to the edge of the system. The Vrexians suffered over 200,000 casualties. The humans lost 37 ships and 5,000 personnel. Minho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the aftermath on his displays, debris fields, captured vessels, rescue operations for human survivors. It was a complete victory, but he felt no joy. Too many humans had died. "Sir," Yuna said quietly, "we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. News of the battle is spreading. Everyone is watching." Minho nodded. "Good. Open a channel. Broadcast on all frequencies." His face appeared on screens across the galaxy. In the council chambers, on military vessels, on civilian stations, everywhere. Billions of beings watched as the human admiral spoke. I am Admiral Minho, Kong of the United Earth Defense Force. The Vrexian Empire invaded human space with the intent to conquer and enslave us. They believed we were weak. They were wrong. He gestured to the debris field behind him. This is what remains of their fleet. 500 ships reduced to scrap. We captured their commander, we seized their vessels, we defended our home. Minho's expression hardened. Let this be clear to every species in the galaxy. Human space is sovereign territory. Any vessel, any fleet, any empire that violates our borders will face the same fate. We did not ask for war, but we will end any war brought to us. The great hall of Apex Prime Station stretched for miles, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 1,000 distant stars. Ambassador Hannah Choi walked through the entrance, her boots clicking against the polished floor. Behind her, 3 human guards followed in perfect formation. They wore the simple gray uniforms of Earth's diplomatic corps, nothing fancy or decorated. Hannah knew how they looked to the aliens around them, small, weak, unimportant. The Galactic Council had existed for over 10,000 years. Hundreds of species had come and gone, but the major powers remained the same. The Vrexians controlled most of the military might in the galaxy. Their reptilian forms towered over other species, their scales gleaming like armor. The Kelthoran Collective spread across 50 systems, their insect-like bodies moving in perfect sync with their hive mind. The Morphians floated above their seats, beings of pure energy who claimed to have witnessed the birth of stars. Hannah took her place at the petitioner's platform. It was positioned lower than the council seats, forcing her to look up at the alien delegates. She straightened her shoulders and activated the holographic display. Images of Earth appeared above her, rotating slowly. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. Honorable Council, Hannah began, her voice steady. Humanity comes before you to request colonial rights in the Outer Rim territories. We have developed faster-than-light travel and wish to expand peacefully into unclaimed space. A sound like grinding stones filled the chamber. It took Hannah a moment to realize the Vrexian High Commander was laughing. Thraktor rose from his seat, his massive form casting a shadow over Hannah's platform. His yellow eyes gleamed with amusement. Unclaimed space? He rumbled. Little human, there is no unclaimed space. There is only space we don't want? He gestured at the other delegates. Your species has been in space for what? 50 years? We have been traveling between stars for 3,000 years. You think you can simply ask for territory? Hannah kept her face neutral. We have proven ourselves capable. Our ships are fast and efficient. Our people are eager to explore and build new worlds. This time, multiple delegates laughed. A Kelthoran speaker clicked its mandibles in what passed for humor among its kind. Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are crude. Your technology is centuries behind even the youngest council species. Hannah's jaw tightened, but she continued. Humanity may be new to space travel, but we are not new to survival. Our world has seen countless wars. We have survived plagues, natural disasters, and near-extinction events. We are stronger than we appear. The Morphian delegate's energy field pulsed with colors that Hannah's translator interpreted as condescension. Every species thinks they are special. Every species believes their struggles make them unique. You are children playing with toys you barely understand. Thraktor stepped down from his platform, moving closer to Hannah's holographic display. He waved a clawed hand through the image of Earth. Look at this. One planet. One small world. We control hundreds of systems. The Kelthoran spread across thousands of worlds. What have you survived that we have not conquered? Hannah felt anger rising in her chest, but she forced it down. We ask only for the opportunity to prove ourselves. Give us a chance to establish colonies. We will not disappoint you. The council delegates conferred among themselves in their various languages. Clicks, growls, and harmonic tones filled the chamber. Finally, the Morphian delegate spoke, its voice like wind chimes in a storm. Very well. We will grant humanity colonial rights. The being paused, and Hannah felt hope surge in her chest. You may settle in sectors 447 through 456 of the Outer Rim. Hannah's assistant quickly pulled up the sector data on his tablet. His face went pale. He leaned over and whispered to Hannah, "Those sectors are worthless. They're full of pirates, rogue AI remnants, and spatial anomalies. Nothing valuable has ever been found there." Hannah looked back at the council. Those sectors are considered dead zones. No species has successfully colonized them in recorded history. Thraktor's laugh echoed through the chamber again. Exactly. If humanity is as strong as you claim, you should have no problem. Let the children play in the wasteland. When you fail, perhaps you will learn humility. The Caltheran speaker added, "The council has spoken. You have your territory. What you do with it is your concern. We expect you will return within a decade, begging for our protection from the dangers you cannot handle." Hannah stood frozen for a moment. Every instinct told her to argue, to demand better terms. But she knew it would be useless. The council had made their decision. This was a test designed for humanity to fail. They wanted to humiliate Earth. To prove that humans were too weak for the galactic stage, she bowed slightly, keeping her face expressionless. Humanity accepts the Council's generous offer. We will settle the Outer Rim sectors and prove our worth. As Hannah turned to leave, she heard Thraktor's voice one last time. Soft-skinned weaklings. They will be dead within 5 years or enslaved by pirates. Either way, we will never hear from them again. The walk back to the human shuttle felt longer than the walk in. Hannah's guards remained silent, but she could feel their anger. They had all heard the mockery, the laughter, the casual dismissal of everything humanity had achieved. Once inside the shuttle, Hannah finally allowed herself to show emotion. She slammed her fist against the wall, hard enough to make her knuckles ache. They gave us hell and expect us to die there. Her chief guard, a veteran named Minho Kang, stepped forward. "Ambassador, we should reject this. It's a death sentence." Hannah shook her head. "No, we accept it. We take their worthless sectors and we make them ours." She looked at each of her team members. "They think we're weak because we're new. They think our short time in space makes us inferior. They don't understand what it took for us to get here." She pulled up the sector maps on the shuttle's display. Asteroid fields, dead planets, pirate nests, and worse. Every great human achievement came from adversity. We walked on the moon when computers were weaker than the tablets we carry now. We split the atom while fighting a world war. We cured diseases that killed millions. We didn't do these things because they were easy. We did them because we had no choice. Minho studied the maps carefully. He had been a military commander before joining the diplomatic corps. His eyes saw what Hannah saw. "These sectors are actually perfect for us." "Exactly," Hannah said. "The council thinks they're giving us a graveyard. But graveyards can be built upon. Those asteroid fields? Resources. Those dead planets? Real estate. Those pirates? Target practice." She sent a priority message to Earth marked for the United Earth government's eyes only. In it, she detailed the Council's decision and her recommendation. Humanity should accept the sectors and begin immediate militarization. They would need weapons, ships, and soldiers. Lots of them. The response came back within an hour. The president's message was simple. Accepted. Begin preparations. Operation Prometheus is approved. Hannah allowed herself a small smile. Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. A fitting name. The aliens had just given humanity a vast territory far from their oversight. They expected humans to fail and disappear. Instead, humanity would build an empire in the shadows. And when they emerged, the galaxy would never mock them again. The shuttle departed from Apex Prime. Heading back toward Earth, behind them, the Galactic Council continued their session. Already forgetting about the primitive humans and their worthless sectors, they had no idea what they had just done. They had given humanity exactly what it needed most, A challenge, a purpose, and a reason to prove the entire galaxy wrong. 2 years had passed since the Galactic Council's humiliating decision. In that time, the galaxy had almost completely forgotten about humanity. Occasional reports mentioned that the humans were still alive in their worthless sectors, but nobody paid attention. They were irrelevant, just another minor species trying to survive in the dangerous outer rim, but the galaxy was wrong. They weren't watching closely enough. Admiral Minho Kong stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, humanity's newest flagship. Through the viewport he watched as the Fortuna system bustled with activity. This barren system, once empty except for asteroids and radiation, now hosted 3 massive orbital stations and hundreds of ships. Status report, Minho ordered. Captain Una Park looked up from her tactical display. Sir, Foundry Station reports construction of 50 new destroyers on schedule. Weapons testing is proceeding as planned. The Prometheus shipyards have completed another battlecruiser. That makes 12 this month. 12 battlecruisers in 1 month. The Galactic Council would never believe it. They thought human manufacturing was slow and inefficient. They had no idea what humans could do when pushed to their limits. Minho walked to the viewport and looked out at the organized chaos. Supply ships moved between stations. Construction drones welded new hull plates onto skeletal frames of warships. Miners extracted valuable metals from asteroids that the Council thought worthless. Every human colony in the Outer Rim worked with one purpose: preparation. How many ships do we have now? Minho asked. 3,000 combat-ready vessels, Admiral, Una replied. Another 500 in final construction stages, plus support ships, carriers, and stealth units. 3,000 ships. When humanity arrived in the Outer Rim 2 years ago, they had maybe 100 vessels, most of them converted civilian craft. Now they had a fleet that rivaled smaller Council species. The door to the bridge opened and Chief Engineer Taeyang Shin entered, carrying a datapad. His face showed exhaustion but also excitement. Admiral, you need to see this. Tiang activated a holographic display. It showed a weapon system unlike anything in the standard human arsenal. We call it the Ragnarok Cannon. Dr. Ji-Hun Nam's team finished testing it yesterday. What does it do? Minho asked. It fires a focused plasma beam that can punch through any known shield system in the galaxy. We tested it on a captured Vrexian cruiser hull. The beam went through the armor like it wasn't there. It kept going for another 3 kilometers before dispersing. Una whistled softly. The Vrexians have the strongest shields in the galaxy. If this weapon can penetrate them, nothing in the galaxy can stop it, Taeyang finished. Dr. Nam is already working on bigger versions. He thinks we can mount them on battleships within 6 months. Minho nodded slowly. What else do we have? Taeyang swiped through several displays. Nuclear plasma missiles that burn hotter than most stars. Railguns with twice the velocity of standard kinetic weapons. Cyber warfare systems that can hack Caltharan networks. And the Ghost Corps has new cybernetic enhancements that make them faster and stronger than any organic soldier. The Ghost Corps, Commander Soman Lee's Special Forces unit. They were humanity's secret weapon, trained for missions that regular soldiers couldn't handle. Infiltration, assassination, deep space operations. Soman ran her troops through training so brutal that half the volunteers washed out in the first week. Speaking of the Ghost Corps, Minho said, where are they now? Una checked her console. Last report placed them near the Caltharan border. They were investigating a science vessel. Actually, they were doing more than investigating. The Ghost Corps was capturing that science vessel. 3 days ago, Soman had led her team on a raid so precise that the Caltharan hive mind never even detected an intrusion. They boarded the ship, disabled the crew, and stole every bit of research data they could find. Then they left without a trace. The data was now in Dr. Nam's lab, being analyzed and reverse-engineered. Caltharan biotechnology combined with human innovation would create weapons and tools the galaxy had never imagined. Admiral, a communications officer called out. We're receiving a coded message from Captain Dongyun Quan. Dongyun commanded humanity's first stealth carrier, a ship that could hide from virtually any scanner. He ran missions deep in pirate territory, eliminating threats before they could discover human colonies. Put it through. Minho ordered. Dongyun's voice came through clear, despite being transmitted across several light years. Admiral, mission successful? The Red Fang pirate fleet no longer exists. We eliminated all 17 ships. No survivors. No witnesses? Any damage to your vessel? Minho asked. Negative, sir. They never saw us coming. We were in and out in 40 minutes. Another pirate fleet gone? That made 8 in the past year? The pirates who once terrorized the Outer Rim were disappearing, and they didn't know why. Some whispered about ghost ships that appeared from nowhere. Others said the dead zones were haunted. Let them whisper. Fear was a weapon too. Minho ended the transmission and turned to Yuna. Update the tactical map. Mark that sector is cleared. Yuna's fingers flew across her console, updating the holographic display of the Outer Rim. Green markers indicated secured systems. Yellow marked systems with minor threats. Red showed dangerous zones. Over the past 2 years, the map had transformed. What was once almost entirely red now showed mostly green and yellow. Humanity had taken the wasteland and made it theirs. Admiral, Yuna said quietly. The Council still doesn't know what we're doing out here. Our intelligence suggests they think we're barely surviving. Good, Minho replied. Let them think that. The longer they ignore us, the stronger we become. He walked to his command chair and sat down, reviewing reports on his personal display. Every report showed progress. Colony populations were growing. Industrial output increased every month. Military training programs graduated thousands of new soldiers each week. Scientists made breakthroughs almost daily. The Council had given humanity a challenge, expecting them to fail. Instead, they had given humanity the greatest gift possible: time and space to prepare without interference. Minho thought about the Vrexian commander who had laughed at humanity. Thrachter, who called humans soft-skinned weaklings. Who said they would be dead or enslaved within 5 years, 2 years down. 3 to go. But Minho didn't plan to wait that long. Yuna, he said, what's our current fleet strength compared to the Vrexian border forces? Yuna pulled up the intelligence reports. The Vrexians maintain about 500 ships on their border with our sectors. Standard patrol and garrison forces. They don't expect any threats from our direction. Could we defeat them? Yuna was quiet for a moment, running calculations. Yes, sir. With our current fleet and weapons, we could destroy their border forces. But it would alert the entire galaxy to our strength. Not yet then, Minho said. We need to be ready for more than just border forces. When we reveal ourselves, it needs to be overwhelming, total, undeniable. He stood and addressed the bridge crew. Everyone, listen. 2 years ago, the Galactic Council mocked us. They laughed at our ships, our weapons, our very existence. They gave us these sectors expecting us to die. But we didn't die. We thrived. We built an empire in the shadows. The crew watched him intently. Some were veterans who remembered Earth. Others were young officers who had grown up on colony ships. All of them shared one thing. They had been underestimated their entire lives. We're not ready to reveal ourselves yet, Minho continued. But that day is coming. And when it does, the galaxy will learn what happens when you push humanity into a corner. We don't break. We don't surrender. We become stronger. A chorus of agreement echoed through the bridge. Minho returned to his chair and pulled up a classifile marked Contingency Plans. Inside were scenarios for every possible future. War with the Vrexians. Conflict with the Calthuran. Alliance opportunities. Trade negotiations, everything. But his favorite plan was labeled simply Response to Council Mockery. It was a comprehensive military strategy for showing the entire galaxy that humanity was not weak. It involved fleet movements, weapons demonstrations, and psychological warfare. When executed, it would shatter every assumption the Council had about humans. Minho smiled. Not yet. But soon, far below on the surface of Fortuna Prime, millions of human colonists worked and lived. They built cities in the wasteland. They raised families on dead worlds. They turned radiation-soaked rocks into gardens. And they trained. Everyone trained. Every colonist knew how to fight if necessary. The galaxy had forgotten about humanity, dismissed them as irrelevant. That was humanity's greatest advantage. While the ancient empires grew complacent and arrogant, while the council species argued over thousand-year-old treaties, humanity worked. They built, they prepared, and they waited for the right moment to remind the galaxy of a simple truth. Never underestimate the species that has nothing to lose and everything to prove. The galaxy changed overnight. The Battle of Fortuna was not just a military defeat for the Vrexians. It was a signal to every oppressed species, every minor civilization, every world that had lived under the boot of ancient empires. If humans could defeat the mighty Vrexians, maybe others could resist too. Within weeks, rebellions erupted across Vrexian territory. Subject species that had been enslaved for centuries saw their chance. They attacked Vrexian garrisons, seized weapons, and declared independence. The Vrexian military, already reeling from the loss of 500 ships, suddenly faced threats from within their own empire. The Keltheran Collective watched these developments with interest. Unlike the Vrexians, they understood the value of adaptation. Their hive mind analyzed humanity's victory and reached a logical conclusion. Cooperation was more valuable than conflict. A Keltheran diplomatic vessel arrived at the Fortuna system 6 weeks after the battle. Admiral Minho received their delegation personally. The Keltheran ambassador, a being designated Speaker 3, approached with its insectoid limbs moving in careful patterns. Admiral Kong, Speaker 3 clicked in its language, translated by human computers. The collective offers alliance. We share technology, we share knowledge. Together we become stronger than separate. Minho studied the alien carefully. The Keltheran were not known for deception. Their hive mind made lying difficult. If they offered alliance, they meant it. But trust would take time. Why? Minho asked. 3 years ago, your collective laughed at us in the council chambers. 3 years ago, we were wrong, Speaker 3 replied simply. The collective learns, the collective adapts. Humanity has proven strength. The collective values strength. After days of negotiation, humanity and the Keltheran signed a technology-sharing agreement. Dr. Ji-hoon. Nam nearly cried when he saw the Keltheran bioengineering data. Combined with human innovation, they could create things the galaxy had never seen, but not everyone celebrated these developments. On Earth, tensions rose among human leadership. Admiral Wujin Chai, commander of the Second Fleet, argued for aggressive action. We should strike now, Wujin insisted during a strategy meeting. The Vrexian Empire is weakened. We can crush them completely and take their territory. Minho shook his head. That would make us conquerors, not defenders. The galaxy would unite against us. So what? Wujin shot back. We've proven we can defeat anyone who challenges us. Why should we fear galactic opinion? Because, Ambassador Hana interjected, we didn't fight to become the new oppressors. We fought for respect and equality. If we become conquerors, we're no better than the Vrexians. The debate continued for hours. Earth's government was split between those who wanted cautious expansion and those who wanted to seize the moment. While they argued, the Vrexians made their decision. High Commander Thraktor had been executed for his failure at Fortuna. The new Vrexian leadership, desperate to restore their empire's reputation, gathered every available ship. 1,000 warships, the largest fleet they could assemble without leaving their core territory defenseless. Their target, Earth itself. We will destroy their homeworld, the new High Commander declared. We will show the galaxy that Vrexians do not accept defeat. We will erase humanity from existence. The Vrexian fleet carried planet-killer weapons, banned by galactic law for over 1,000 years. They didn't care about laws anymore. They wanted revenge and total annihilation. Human intelligence detected the fleet's movement 3 days before it reached Seoul. Emergency broadcasts went out across all human colonies and Earth itself. Every ship, Every defense platform, every soldier prepared for the battle that would decide humanity's fate. The Vrexian fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 1,000 warships, bristling with weapons, advancing toward the blue planet that spawned humanity. They expected moderate resistance, maybe a few hundred human ships defending their homeworld. What they found was an armada beyond comprehension. 10,000 human warships waited in formation around Earth and Luna, orbital defense platforms, each one armed with enough firepower to level a city numbered in the hundreds. Automated drones filled the space between ships like swarms of deadly insects. The entire solar system had been transformed into a fortress. "This is impossible," the Vrexian commander whispered. "Where did they get so many ships?" Every human who could hold a weapon had volunteered for Earth's defense. Ships pulled from colonies across human space. Civilian vessels retrofitted with military weapons. Every defense platform ever built, activated, and armed. Humanity was not just defending Earth, they were making a statement. This far and no further. The Vrexians opened fire. Planet-killer weapons. Launched toward Earth, missiles that could crack a world's crust and boil its oceans? They never reached their target, human point defense systems. Guided by AI that could calculate 1,000,000 trajectories per second, intercepted every missile. Railguns fired from surface installations, their rounds reaching into space to destroy incoming threats. The sky above Earth lit up with explosions as weapons that could destroy planets were neutralized before they could hit. "All ships," Minho broadcast from the Indomitable, now positioned directly between Earth and the Vrexian fleet. "Show them why you don't threaten our home." The Battle of Sol was not like Fortuna. This was personal. These were not soldiers defending a colony. These were humans defending the world where their species was born, where their families lived, where their history began. The fighting was brutal. Human ships threw themselves at Vrexian vessels with reckless courage. Captains rammed their ships into enemy dreadnoughts when their weapons ran dry. Fighter pilots flew through debris fields and weapons fire that should have been impossible to survive. Ground forces on Luna fired every weapon they had. Supporting the space battle from the surface, Commander Hyun Lim led planetary assault divisions in a reverse boarding operation. Instead of waiting for the Vrexians to land troops, human forces launched from Earth in assault pods, boarding enemy ships while they were still fighting in space. They fought room by room, deck by deck, turning Vrexian vessels into battlegrounds. Hyun's forces captured a Vrexian cruiser in the middle of the battle. They secured the ship, eliminated the crew, and turned its weapons on other Vrexian vessels. Within an hour, they had captured and repurposed 3 more ships. "This is what we do," Hyun radioed to his troops. "We don't just defeat our enemies. We take everything they have and use it against them." Lieutenant Neri Huang flew her fighter through hell itself. Her squadron protected Earth's orbital stations, intercepting Vrexian bombers before they could release their payloads. She lost half her squadron in the first 2 hours. She kept fighting. When her fighters' weapons ran empty, she used her ship as a missile, ejecting at the last second and allowing her fighter to crash into a Vrexian bomber formation. She was picked up by a rescue shuttle 20 minutes later, already demanding a new fighter so she could return to battle. The battle raged for 18 hours. No breaks, no pauses. Just continuous, brutal combat. Space around Earth became a graveyard of broken ships and debris. But slowly, inevitably, the Vrexians began to lose. Human weapons were better. Human tactics were more creative. Human soldiers fought with desperation that came from defending their birth world. Every human in the system would die before they let the Vrexians destroy Earth. When the last Vrexian ship finally retreated, jumping to hyperspace with human fighters pursuing it to the edge of the system, humanity had won. But the cost was terrible. 2,000 human ships destroyed, 50,000 casualties. Orbital stations damaged. Parts of Luna's surface cratered by weapons fire, but Earth survived. Humanity survived. Minho stood on the Indomitable's bridge, exhausted and covered in sweat. Captain Yuno worked beside him, coordinating rescue operations for survivors. Every Human ship was searching for escape pods for anyone who might still be alive in the debris. Sir, Yuna said quietly, we captured 300 Vrexian prisoners. What should we do with them? Minho thought carefully. The easy choice was execution. The Vrexians had tried to destroy Earth, but easy choices rarely led to lasting peace. Bring them to the surface, Minho ordered, under guard. Let them see Earth, let them see what they tried to destroy. Over the next week, Vrexian prisoners were taken to different cities across Earth. They saw human children playing in parks. They saw art and music and culture. They saw the world that had produced the species they tried to exterminate. And human journalists recorded their reactions, their testimonies, their growing horror at what their empire had ordered them to do. One Vrexian soldier, young and terrified, spoke to a human reporter. We were told you were weak. We were told you were animals. But you have families, children, art, culture. We tried to destroy all of this. What have we become? Minho broadcast these testimonies across the galaxy. Not threats, not propaganda, just truth. Vrexian soldiers speaking about what they were ordered to do and why it was wrong. Then he did something the galaxy never expected. He released the prisoners, all of them. He sent them back to Vrexian space on captured ships, carrying a simple message. Your empire is built on lies and fear, Minho's message said. We give you the truth and freedom. 1 year after the Battle of Sol, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The Vrexian Empire had fractured into 37 independent states, some democratic, some still militaristic, but none with the power to threaten their neighbors. The Galactic Council had dissolved completely. Species that once followed ancient hierarchies now questioned everything. Into this chaos came a proposal from an unexpected source. The Morphean Union, the energy beings who once claimed to be the wisest in the galaxy, requested a meeting with humanity. Ambassador Hannah Choi traveled to their home system, curious about what beings of pure energy wanted to discuss. The Morphean delegate met her in a specially designed chamber where energy and matter could interact. Its form shifted with colors that Hannah's translator interpreted as respect and humility. Ambassador Choi, the Morphean said, we were wrong about your species. We mocked your youth and dismissed your potential. We wish to help establish a new galactic order, one based on equality rather than age and power. But we need humanity's leadership to make it work. Hannah was skeptical. Leadership? You want humans to rule the galaxy? Not rule, the Morphean corrected. Lead, there is a difference. The galaxy needs a species that understands both strength and mercy, that fights when necessary but seeks peace when possible. Humanity has proven it possesses both qualities. The proposal was brought to Earth's government. They offered Admiral Minho the position of Supreme Commander of a new galactic defense coalition. Every major species would contribute ships and resources. Minho would coordinate their combined forces. Minho refused. We didn't fight to rule the galaxy, he told the assembled delegates from dozens of species. We fought to be respected as equals. The galaxy doesn't need masters. It needs partners who work together. His refusal shocked many species who expected humans to seize power while they could. But Minho had a different vision. He proposed something radical. A democratic federation where every species, regardless of age, size, or power, had equal representation. The youngest civilizations should have the same voice as the oldest, Minho explained. Power and wisdom don't always come from age. Sometimes they come from struggle and adaptation. Every species has value. Every voice deserves to be heard. It was revolutionary. It was terrifying. It threatened everything the old powers believed about natural hierarchy and earned authority. And not everyone accepted it. A coalition formed in secret, led by remnant Vrexian military leaders and conservative factions of the Keltharen collective who believed the hive mind should dominate lesser species. They were joined by 12 other species who feared losing their privileged positions in the old order. They assembled a fleet of 5,000 warships, the largest armada ever gathered in galactic history. Their plan was simple: crush humanity and its allies, then restore the old council with themselves in power. They chose a neutral system called New Horizon for their attack, where humanity was hosting a diplomatic conference for the proposed Federation, Human Intelligence, now coordinated with the Keltheran hive mind's vast information network, detected the plot 3 days before the attack. Minji Song, an intelligence officer who had predicted this exact scenario, presented her findings to Minho. Sir, they're coming with everything they have. 5,000 ships from 14 species. They want to end this before the Federation can officially form. Minho studied the tactical data. How many ships can we field? 2,000, Captain Yuna replied. She had been promoted to admiral after the Battle of Seoul. But we have 32 allied species willing to contribute forces. If they all send ships, we could match their numbers. Make the calls, Minho ordered. Tell our allies this is where we prove the Federation can work. Together, we're stronger than divided. Over the next 3 days, ships arrived at New Horizon from across the galaxy. Species that once barely spoke to each other now coordinated their forces. The Keltheran brought their bioships, vessels growing rather than built. A species called the Tormund contributed crystal ships that could refract energy weapons. The humans provided tactical coordination and advanced weapons. Admiral Yuna commanded the combined fleet from a specially designed command ship where representatives from all allied species worked together. Dr. Ji-Hoon Nam had spent months developing translation and coordination software that let different species communicate instantly. The fleet operated as one massive organism, with human tactical doctrine providing the framework. The enemy coalition arrived with confidence. 5,000 ships against 5,000 ships. They expected a brutal but winnable fight. What they didn't expect was humanity's greatest weapon, the willingness to think differently. Yuna didn't treat the Allied fleet as individual units. She coordinated them as a single weapon with multiple parts. Keltheran bioships absorbed enemy fire while human railguns struck from unexpected angles. Tormund crystal ships created illusions that confused enemy sensors. Small, fast ships from newer species harassed enemy formations, preventing them from organizing effective attacks. The Battle of New Horizon lasted 3 days, not because the fighting was constant, but because Yuna deliberately paced the engagement. She rotated fresh ships into battle while damaged vessels retreated for repairs. She used the system's asteroid field and gas giant for tactical advantages. She made the enemy coalition chase her forces through a battlefield of her choosing. On the second day, Commander Soman Lee led the Ghost Corps on their most ambitious operation yet. 200 Ghost Corps soldiers, each enhanced with cybernetic implants and armed with cutting-edge weapons, infiltrated 15 enemy command ships simultaneously. They coordinated their attacks to happen within a 5-minute window. 15 enemy commanders captured or killed in 5 minutes. The enemy coalition's command structure collapsed into chaos. This is what humans do, Soman told her troops as they fought through an enemy cruiser. We don't just fight. We break the enemy's will to fight. Ground Forces Commander Hyan Lim brought his planetary assault divisions to space. They captured enemy ships mid-battle, turning them against their former allies. Within hours, 20 captured vessels flew under Allied control. Crewed by mixed species teams, Lieutenant Nari Huang, now promoted to captain after her heroics at Seoul, led combined strike wings of human, Keltheran, and Tormund fighters. Different species with different tactics, all working together. They proved that cooperation produced results no single species could achieve alone on the third day. With their commanders captured, their formations broken, and their ships being turned against them, the enemy coalition surrendered. Not destroyed, but defeated. Beaten by a force that fought smarter, not just harder, Minho broadcast a message to the surrendering forces. This didn't have to happen. We offered you equality. You wanted dominance. You chose to fight instead of cooperate. But we're not going to destroy you. We're going to show you why cooperation works better than conflict. He offered them the same choice he gave the Vrexians after the Battle of Seoul: join the new Federation as equals, or remain isolated in your own systems. Most chose to join. Some chose isolation. All were allowed to make their choice freely. The victory at New Horizons secured the formation of the Galactic Federation. 147 species signed the founding charter. Every species, from the ancient Morphians to civilizations that had just discovered space travel, had equal representation. One species, one vote, simple, democratic, revolutionary. Minho retired after the Federation was established. He had spent 5 years leading humanity through its greatest challenges. He was tired. He wanted to go home. On his last day as Admiral, he gave a speech to the Federation Assembly. Representatives from every member species attended, either in person or through holographic projection. 5 years ago, the Galactic Council mocked humanity, Minho began. They called us weak. They called our ships toys. They called us children. And you know what? They were right about one thing. We were children. The children grow up. He looked at the assembled delegates. We grew up in hell. Every war, every disaster, every near-extinction event on Earth taught us one lesson: never give up. The galaxy gave us its worst territory and expected us to die. Instead, we thrived. We didn't become strong despite our suffering. We became strong because of it. But here's what the Council didn't understand, Minho continued. Strength isn't just about weapons or ships or military might. Real strength is the willingness to help those weaker than you, the courage to offer mercy to defeated enemies, the wisdom to build bridges instead of walls. He gestured to the diverse assembly. Look around this chamber. Species that were enemies 6 months ago now work together. Ancient powers sit beside young civilizations. We're not united because one species conquered the others. We're united because we chose to be equals. The old systems are gone, Minho concluded. They fell not because we destroyed them, but because they were built on foundations of fear and hierarchy. We've built something better. Something based on mutual respect and cooperation. Will it be perfect? No. Will we face challenges? Absolutely. But we'll face them together. He stepped down from the podium to applause from 100 species, each showing appreciation in their own way. Clicks, chirps, flashes of light, and human clapping filled the chamber.